right, let's bring this meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Hay,
Present.
Commissioner Morton,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cordell,
Here.
Commissioner Fowler,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Mayor Black.
Yeah. Let us bow for invocation. Dear God, our Father in heaven, once again we come before you with thanksgiving and praise. Your blessings upon our town is mostly appreciated from us all. And we thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to do business for the town. We pray for your guidance. And we ask these favors and blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
The first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have an addition we want to add?
No, sir.
Okay.
Unless there's something the board would like to see added.
No.
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
We have a second? All in favor? All right, so be it. Maybe anybody sign up to?
We
make
do.
a
We
comment?
have Mr. Cecil Jackson's team from the Gaston County Tax Department that was going to present the board with a brief overview of some of the projects that are undergoing in reference to the reevaluations that's going to be coming up next year, and just a brief information session for you guys on some upcoming things from the county.
Thank you, Mr. Black, Mr. Blanton as well. Thank you, sir. Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Cecil Jackson. I'm the Gaston County Tax Director here. I'm happy to be here. I brought some of my staff here as well. Little side note here, will not be the tax director much longer, as I'll be retired from service in June and moving to Florida to take a job as the chief appraiser there. But Chelsea Tarbush here in the back, she'll be the interim tax director. She'll do a fine job. And John Stevens, he's the assistant tax director. And Ryan Dobbins in the back is also our revaluation coordinator. So I want to bring our team here so introduce you to them. You kind of get to know them, and hopefully you'll have them back. I'll come back as well if you'd like me to come back and speak. I'll be more than happy to do that. I want to give you a little overview of what's going on with the reval real quick. Maybe in front of you, I think Ryan may have passed some of these out, or some brochures about the reassessment and how it works. As you can see on the very front page, it talks about We Value Gas in 2023 with a little hashtag. Actually, we branded that with the help of Dr. Eagle and her team. If you go and use that link or that hashtag, it'll take you to our website. It gives you information about the assessment, the process, property values, properties that have sold recently, neighborhood information, comparable sales, as well as just pertinent information about values of properties. It also talks about or shows on that website information about taxes, people, how they can pay it. You pay it online, they can submit it via email, via mail and so forth. Also, there's a link on there for request a speaker. Like I said, I'd be more than happy to come back and speak if you'd like, but these folks will do a fine job. I'm pretty sure of that. But we're hoping to get the word out to all municipalities here in Gaston County as well as all citizens, and we'll be willing to speak anywhere at any time. So our process here is basically to talk about how folks can understand assessments and what the whole purpose of it is. Assessments are not to bring additional monies to any municipality or counties, right? It is basically to create fair and equitable assessments for property owners based on the current market conditions of properties as of January 1 of 2023. And it also helps, being fair and equitable, share the wealth or the expenditures of monies equally, right? So we want to make sure that everyone's paying their fair share of taxes based on assessments. But our sole purpose and goal is to actually just do assess values of properties. We also collect taxes, but we don't set tax rates. That's your job as well as the county's, right? So a little overview real quick. We're required by law to reassess properties every 8 years, but the county passed a resolution a couple of years ago to do it every 4 years. It actually minimizes the huge growth or disparity of assessments compared to what current market conditions are, right? So it helps alleviate some of those pressures of taxes as well, and what people see in terms of what they pay. But our main focus is that point is to capture the market at a certain period of time, which would be January 1 of 2023. If you look on page 2, and I'm trying to be kind of brief because I don't want to keep you here because you can read most of this yourself, and you can ask questions at the end if that's okay. What causes changes of properties? It's usually the physical characteristics of properties, such as anything that's factual, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage of properties, and that's our goal, is to make sure that we are reviewing properties on a regular basis We call it canvassing the properties, which we physically come out and review properties, not just because someone took out a building permit or they built a new house, but we're looking at current market conditions and trends. So those assessments will stay constant unless someone makes changes to those properties throughout a revaluation period or between the revaluation periods, but also we only make changes to properties during the reassessment period, okay? So some people think that we assess every year. We don't do that. We only assess properties every 4 years or any time between that if someone makes changes to the property. So we're looking for things like the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, maybe sometimes the condition of the property, or anything that a property owner who may call us and say, I think I got a problem with this assessment that you guys sent on my property. One of our staff members would come out, talk to the property owner, give them an overview of what we have, and also help them understand why we do assessments. There's also, and I won't get into this too much, but it talks about tax rates and who sets the tax rates. I kind of mentioned a little bit, or a couple seconds ago, was, I guess, you do here in Ranlo, and the county commissioners do for the counties and all the other municipalities. Those rates are set, and once those rates are set, it shows you how assessments and tax bills are created off those assessments. So, for example, if someone has a property that has an assessment of $144,200 based on the county's tax rate that's set this past year, they would owe close to $1,200. Okay, so it just kind of gives them an idea of what they could expect. Also, I would like to point out that this is the county's lowest tax rate we've had in close to over 10 years. It doesn't mean it seem a lot, but it is a lot when you start looking at that, right? So hopefully in the next reassessment period, that'll be a determination to you as a board members, as well as the county, of what you would want to set based on the increases of assessments that we see here in the county, as well as Ranlo, town of Ranlo. So at that point in time, in February of next year, we'll start sending out tax assessment notices to all property owners, 110,000 parcels here in Gaston County, and folks will receive those, and they'll have 30 days to appeal their assessment once they receive that notice, if they're not happy with it. And there's a couple ways they can do that. They can come into our office. Excuse me, I'll probably need to drink some water. They can come to our office. They can actually call us. They can go online and appeal their assessed values if they'd like. And our goal is this assessment period for 2023, the next reassessment, is to come out and come to town halls if it's allowed and meet the property owners, as opposed to them driving all the way into Gastonia. We're also going to do it with every township from Cherryville to Mount Holly to Bessemer City. So we would like to engage the community as opposed to them coming to us. We're advocates for that type of phase of what we're looking at. I can tell you when I was in Mecklenburg County, we didn't do that, but I like to do that. I was there for 24 years, but I found that engaging the community is the most important portion of what we do. Because once we kind of let them know how this process works, they have an avenue or way of segueing into saying, okay, I understand why you assessed my property for what you did. Or I still don't agree with you, whether it's a process. So that process is somewhat of a three-step process. And I kind of just mentioned there is, you'll receive a notice, they'll have 30 days to appeal the assessment. We'll engage the property owners with their issues of the property. We'll do a formal inspection, or a physical inspection, excuse me, and that inspection will be a full measure and list of the property. We'll talk to the property owners and find out what their issues are at their house physically. If there's something internally we can't see, that's the time for folks to let us know. Hey, I've got, a leaky roof, or my foundation's cracked, or I live beside a railroad tracks that maybe you didn't know that, and it's an external obsolescence that's giving us a downturn in the market because folks don't want to hear a train go by every half an hour, so forth. So we were looking for those type of things to make sure that we're engaging what the property owner's reasons for the appeal is. So at that point in time, they'll receive a notice from our office, and if they still don't agree with the assessment, they can actually go to the Board of Equalization Review. It'll have some instructions with that as well. It'll tell them how they can appeal that. The Board of Equalization Review is a 5-panel board that is appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, which is basically an extension of the county, and they hear all the appeals. So at that point, it's just pretty much an informal process like we're here right now. One side's here, one side's there. We present cases, and just like Solomon, they split the baby in half, or they leave it in whole, right? So that's what we're hopefully we'll get at. So at that point in time, after we hear all the appeals, we will start sending out tax bills, once tax rates are set. And those rates are obviously set by you folks as well as the county, and we'll start sending out tax bills. And sometime hopefully in July, August, and they'll have till January 5th to pay without interest. That's a quick overview of the process somewhat. I know I'm kind of running through this, I know I don't want to keep you here, and I did it all in 5 minutes, which is kind of pretty quick for me, because I talk kind of fast, so tell me to slow down if you'd like. But I also want to say that if folks really would like for us to come out and speak about this process, we're more than happy to do that. We had a PowerPoint presentation about this. We'll be more than happy to come back and talk about that and show you a little bit more in depth about the whole process of the assessment, why we do it, statutory requirements, why we do assessments, and why we want to reach out to the community, because I think it's important as an assessor in the tax office that we engage the citizens who help us determine what the market is, because they buy and sell properties here, and sometimes we don't really know what's going on. But we see a huge increase of property values over the past 2 years. So I can let you know, or I will let you know that based on assessment ratios, which means what that property is assessed for compared to what it's currently selling for, we're about, as of April, is that right? About 54% of the market in terms of, so if you had a house that's sold for $100,000, we had it assessed for $54,000. So that's what people we're seeing here, and I know you've seen it all over the communities here in Gaston County as well. All over the country, property values have pretty much increased dramatically, and it's due to the lack of housing. Folks, I guess they have a lot of money, trying to figure that part out, and interest rates are now creeping up a little bit, but it still hasn't slowed down just yet. But we want to capture the market as it is as of January 1 of 2023. So the trend is right now is an upward trend that we're seeing. Nothing is stabilizing, nothing has actually dropped down off. So our assessments are doing an inversion, if I could do my hands right. So if we have an X, we're down and they're up. I would like to say also is that we really appreciate you letting us come out and speak here, or at least me run my mouth for the last 6 or 7 minutes here. But I really wanted to get this out, this brochure, and let you know exactly what we're kind of looking at here, what folks can find about Gaston County and assessments, where they can find out more information about neighborhoods in their communities, more granular stuff that's down microscopic, where people can see not just a holistic portion, but there are a lot of good information that you can find here on our website and in this brochure. But we're more than happy to come back anytime. So
you're saying that the assessment's not due to the fact that you're trying to create new revenue for the county?
no, sir.
It's
No.
about helping the homeowners sell their property.
Our goal is to make sure that property owners are paying their fair share of taxes, but also that the market is captured at a certain period of time. We do not set tax rates, obviously, you know that. And our goal is to make sure that that tax base, based on the needs from Ranlo, the other municipalities in the county, are met, right? So, and that's why we do reassessments. Fortunately, and somewhat unfortunately in the state of Florida, they do them manually. Minnesota, New York, California, we do it here every 4 years, which I think if they shorten the gap, you'd see a less of increases in taxes for folks being paid. But when you have a longer period of time between reassessments, typically you see an increase or a spike on assessed values of properties. And it's just due to the market. I've been on the back end of that too, where the values in 2008 and 9 were going really south really quick. And I did a reassessment twice in a 3-year period. So it could go either way. You know.
So it was a negative assessment.
It was a flat assessment. It really wasn't negative, but it was a small increase based on the market and what was happening. And there was a lot of properties that were sold due to foreclosure, but we're not seeing that here. We're seeing a lot of properties being sold from they call them REITs, or real estate investment companies. We're buying a lot of neighborhoods, and they're driving homeowners to the point where they're either forced to sell, stay in their house, or sell and rent. and it's very difficult for a young homeowner to buy a piece of property for someone who can't compete with someone who has cash, right? So cash is king, but we want to make sure that we are looking at the market as it is a holistic.
So, are you thinking of bringing a mobile office out here and do the reassessments?
Well, what we would like to do is after we send out assessment notices, yes, sir, if it's allowed, if you would allow us to come back out, we'll set up camp here for, maybe a couple days, and then we'll go to the next municipality and the next and so forth and so forth. And then folks can come here and they don't have to, I don't know if you want them all in here in your building, but we're more than happy to meet people here as opposed to them coming to the admin building down there off Martin Luther King. And we're just trying to get people more accessibility to the assessor's office.
Okay, great. Any other questions from commissioners? Any comments? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Blanton, thank you. And I really appreciate your time to listen to me ramble for about now 15 minutes. So I'll give it a shot.
Thank you,
All right,
Mr. Jackson. Okay, next item on the agenda. Do we have any more to speak?
And no one else has requested to speak to the board. I do not believe we have anything else, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. Approval of the Board of Commissioners special March 31st budget meeting minutes. We have a motion to approve. We have a motion, we have a also second. All in favor? So be it. All right, let's go to old business, review of the residential and non-residential garbage rates. Mr. Blanton?
Mr. Morton requested us to have this conversation tonight in reference to some of the residential versus non-residential rates. Mr. Morton and I spoke about this yesterday and again today. Do you want to proceed with that discussion, Mr. Morton?
Well, Pastor Ranlo pretty well back approached to me, and I think he's a little upset because of the price range and I guess of the garbage cans and everything. So we didn't talk at length at the time, and like I told Mr. Blanton, I really don't know what he was inquiring about, unless it was the garbage cans, But I told him I couldn't on the docket. I was hoping he'd be here tonight, but we can table this,
Sure, just a point of information, we currently have two rates for garbage fees. We have a residential rate and a non-residential rate. That residential rate, the first can is $12 per month, and that second can, any additional can, would be $9 per month. That's for primary dwellings that are residential. The second fee that we have is for non-residential properties, which that first can is at $24 a month, and that second can is at $18 a month. This is the fiscal year 22 fee schedule that was adopted last year. Of course, next month we will have a fiscal year 23 fee schedule that will be before the commissioners. If there are any changes, additions, or deletions that you'd like to see at that time, we can certainly have that conversation.
So that would be maybe for the nonprofits, a reduced rate for them?
That would be an option.
Could be
Currently,
an
we only
option.
have two rates, the residential and non-residential rate, not differentiating between churches, nonprofits, business.
Right. Yeah, I think that was one of the discussions that we had when he was here, something about maybe doing a non-profit rate. Okay. Is that correct?
yeah.
All right, anything else, Mr. Moore? Okay, next item on the agenda is update on the summer recreational activities and Milltown Nights. Mr. Black?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, last month we had discussed upcoming events for Milltown Nights and summer recreational activities. Since then, Ms. Kara Hay, Mr. Hayes' wife, and Mr. Morton have met in regards to some of the proposed events for this summer. We were looking at the last weekend in June for a kickoff for Milltown Nights. Wanted to gauge the board's interest on any specific ideas or anything that you all would like to see in reference to these events. Also, Mr. Morton had reached out to, I apologize, Mr. Morton, I forget his name, but with Heart to Heart.
David Kaiser.
Yeah, Mr. Kaiser, in regards to a proposal for the festival in September. He and I spoke today. Mr. Morton had put me in touch with him, and he had provided a quote to come out for one of the bands for the Milltown Night and end of summer festival in September. So that's really just kind of a quick update on where we are with that. I'd be glad to answer any questions or gauge the input or suggestions on the board with going forward with that.
Okay.
you have a theme plan for June, or is that what you were asking about?
I do not have a theme planned. I know that, Ms. Hay and Mr. Morton had talked about getting some vendors put into place and getting a kickoff event put in place. As far as the theme, Wade, do you recall, was there any specific theme that Karen?
No, I know usually in June, I think kids, they're out of school or something, you know, and usually have something geared for the young people, you know, on that night or something. To get them involved and everything, and then July, our fireworks and stuff like that. We talked about food trucks and stuff like that, and different vendors, you know, different types of craft vendors and stuff like that, but,
I wonder if maybe instead we could plan the event for kids to be in August, right before school starts. I think it starts the 29th of August. And if so, the weekend before we could have a kids thing. And then in June, when it's a little cooler, we could do something for seniors. In June. Does that make sense?
Yeah. On another note, we're looking for, get in contact with, trying to get some sponsors, pay to sponsor some of these bands coming and, you know, have their banners up or signs up around the stage where a band would be playing, take any, you know, price off the town and, you know, use sponsorship money for those costs, so.
Maybe a misconception, I think that seniors like it cold. We like it hot.
And we do have a brunch bingo that's scheduled for next Friday at the lodge that's centered towards senior adults. We've been in touch with some local groups, Gaston County Senior Center, so I'm hoping we'll have a good turnout for that at the lodge next Friday from 10 to 1.
Next Friday.
I can't bring that.
All right. So, do we have a recreational committee in place at this point?
Not a formal committee. I've conferred with former Commissioner Locklear. I know Ms. Hay has shown an interest in recreation as well as Mr. Morton. As far as an appointed recreation committee, we do not have one organized at this time, Mr. Mayor.
So y'all just basically doing it, y'all basically.
Bouncing ideas off and
Yeah.
engaging towards interest on ideas and suggestions, yes, sir.
I have spoken with Mr. Blank about it, like, you know, y'all discussed about an intern recreation person, you know. Well, a part-time recreation person, but I suggested maybe an intern from a college or something is gearing into recreation to maybe come out maybe 2 days a week or something to help with stuff like that, you know. Like concentrate on paperwork and stuff like that.
That would certainly be a help for some of this planning and some of the coordinating and whatnot, if we had someone that had an interest in recreation and was interested in doing internship hours for the town. It's been successful for us in the past. We've had a couple of items that have done well, so that would certainly be a welcome help if we could find someone that was geared towards that particular area.
And that would really Blanton, you know, having to look into it and he could do the town business part of it. That would be helpful.
I'm assuming you have contacts at the University of Charlotte?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Anything else on summer recreational activities? Any motions to be made off that comment?
Do you want a motion to seek an intern?
You know, I can informally engage, and if I can find someone that would be a good fit, I can bring them in the fold.
All right. Next item on the agenda is new business, consideration of a proposal from the Young Bulls Sports Organization.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we have Mr. Darius Lampley with us. He is the team manager for the Young Bulls. He had reached out to me about a month or so ago about looking for a home for their organization, for their practices and their football games starting in May through October. I'd asked him to come here tonight after providing you all with a little bit of an excerpt on what they were looking to do, just for him to introduce the organization, kind of give an update of where they are and what they're seeking to do here in Ranlo. So, Darius, we would love to hear from you. If you'd like to give some brief remarks on the matter.
Good evening, everybody. Actually, if I can approach you guys, I got some sponsor and things that's a little more detailed. I wasn't, I thank Mr. Jonathan for all his help. He kind of helped me along the way here. But a little bit about the Young Boys. We're a community community development organization. We're not just sports or just football. We're trying to teach the kids ethics, young men, young women. So I reached out to my employer, Sharon, as well. You guys will find in there. We have some kids with colleges, with apprenticeships. They don't sponsor sport teams, but they do sponsor robotic teams. So we worked out a situation where kids go in high school and they complete 4 years at a summer camp. Sharon actually pays them to go to engineering school. So the sports are just a stepping stone that we're using to kind of get the kids more involved. On top of the engineering that they'll be actually learning too, we also have carpentry classes and mechanic classes too. And it's actually all volunteer work. The fathers that I've been coming in contact with, they have been helping out, such as like, Swade's not a father, but he's definitely been helping out with his profession with the Brothers of Color, helping out, coming out there. And so the whole point of coming stand in front of you guys today was trying to find a place to call home where these young athletes, you know, I feel like they are the future, because at one point I was their age and I was the future. So just trying to take the wisdom and knowledge and kind of like give them a different avenue. So again, you know, sports is really like our stepping stone that we use to kind of give them something else to do besides YouTube and whatever cell phones, you know. But we also trying to raise these young guys to be the young carpenters, the young engineers. We wasn't really introduced to those younger, so I feel like giving them outlets to have more than just football, you know, understanding, help them out in their academics in the school as well too. Trying to get more connected with the local schools and the Gaston community to kind of understand what they're looking for these kids to know going into high school, you know, so they're more prepared, you know. I tell the kids all the time, I'm a Belichick mindset. You know, we don't have to be the fastest, you don't have to be the best athlete. As long as you're the smartest, you can complete anything. And that's really like my concept with them, you know. So he's saying if the board can extend their hand with the field, anything else they want to help us out with to help these young athletes, you know, reach their goals. You guys can see Saturday we have a community outreach that we're doing that actually a lot of us volunteers come out of our own pockets to make sure that every kid that come out can play for free in the bounce house. There's a live DJ out there, food, hot dogs for all the kids that come out there. We're just trying to get the kids to get signed up. Also too, for the young ladies as well too, we have women etiquette classes, teaching young ladies that don't want to play basketball or any sports. We do cosmetology as well, teaching them how to do hair, makeup, nails, etiquette, how to set a table, even cooking classes and fashion classes as well too. Hopefully to get you guys' support. We're trying to put a summer sizzle together, not this year, but next year. It'll be done by youth, sponsored by you, you know, just expressing their creativity, kind of giving them a step out there into the world, what they really want to do. So we wanted to utilize you guys' field as a home field to call home during our season that starts in August during the fall season. So that's what we was asking. I hope I kind of hit everything. So it's a little nervous a little bit, but I did admire the prayer that you did, you know, because a lot of times we're afraid to mention religious, but I do preach that in my organization. Not so much as what the concept of Christianity, but doing the right thing is the whole concept behind religion, if you ask me. You know, so I do try to do that. And one thing I'm also teaching them, we don't want things handed out. We want to earn it too. You know, for some of the places and these parks that's in these apartment complexes, I want to teach these kids to have them out there fixing themselves during the summertime, because they use these to play on these parks and programs during the year. But they can learn too also. You know, instead of them spending this summer, you know, just doing whatever, we can teach them while having fun, building bonds, you know, monuments, being a staple, something to remember, because they really are the future. So we might can't fix it now, but I think we start with the 6 and 7 year olds, about 5 and 10 years, I don't know. Maybe we'll start with kids from tax problems. I think we'll probably be in a better state, you know, so I guess I'm asking for that hand too, you know, so.
So are you bringing your kids with you, or are you using local kids?
Yes, we are. Well, we're recruiting still. We started in April actually. We're welcoming all kids. I'm actually not even from North Carolina. I moved down here due to work at Sharon, America. I'm one of the leading engineers there. So them alone actually saved me. You know, so I know if they can do that for me, I know they can do that for them. You know, taking them out of high school, putting them in college, you know, teaching them things, you know, electrical engineering, automation engineering, aerospace engineering. I actually got a few robots in my car that will actually be at be at the fundraiser. They help show these kids you can do them at a young age. Just gotta learn it. And for being out there with them in April, seeing these kids that never played the sport, seeing them actually believe and do it and get better, and we have a strong future.
So you're based out of what building, or is it local?
Yes.
Linwood Road, is that right?
Yes, sir. Linwood Road. That's where we're at now practicing. But we welcome in all Gaston County children, though, honestly. So, and even with the apprenticeships, that's for all. I'm actually offering that to all the teams in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Period. It's not just my organization. I'm with that with all the teams that's in the North Carolina area. So I'm actually presenting that for kids to kind of get a better jump off of into college. So my job is offering also Siemens, a couple other businesses on Westinghouse, engineering businesses that I'm actually in contact with, trying to get more on board as well too.
So if a kid from the town of Ranlo wanted to be a part of what you're doing, would they have to have transportation to your building, or is that something that you're gonna come pick them up, or what?
It's crazy you say that. Again, like I said, it's just the blessings that's been getting poured, because honestly, again, Mr. Josue's father, he actually helped us out with the utility van, and again, it needs a lot of work. But the thing of it is, we got a mechanic that's actually one of the coaches and fathers, so we're actually gonna teach these kids how to work on this van as well too. And we're gonna kind of piece it together, so we will have transportation as well. But again, we have to take a lot of help, parents and things like that, helping to get them out there. That's why I'm actually trying to have more help, so these kids don't have to. A lot of times, the stories that I hear is that the kids have to suffer because of some of the adults' mistakes, and I don't really feel like it's fair. So when he goes down to looking for transportation, we go out our way to go grab these kids, you know, and that's in Gaston County, Ranlo County. We can't beat traffic, you know, but we do what we can. So we got that van. It's on. We're probably gonna put 15 chairs in it, but we ain't getting pulled over putting 20 kids in there. But we're gonna put 20 kids in there, you know. So like, and we're gonna continue to do it. Have these fundraisers, hoping the community support. We ain't gonna fail though.
Yeah.
So
So y'all need a field to play football, is that what you're asking us to use our field, right?
yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how often are you looking to use it for? You said what, for now, I guess,
Well, it'll
August
be-
through October, what,
Mhm.
twice a week, 3 times a week?
It'll
Once a
be
week?
3 times a week.
Cool.
3 times a week. But it also help out. I heard you guys talking about your recreational and your event stuff for the kids. You know, one of the best advertisements is the people that sell for kids. You know, so it'll be definitely something, you know, that I wouldn't mind helping too, to help get that out too. You know, I tell the kids all the time, you know, and the parents as well, this is our village. You know, our success is measured by what comes out of it.
So you'll need it 3 times a week, starting as soon as possible, or?
As soon as possible is best, but when it's convenient around you guys, I was listening to you guys' events and stuff like that. Again, like I said, I wasn't really sure what to kind of expect and how to kind of prepare. I'm the type of person I do like to prepare, so I didn't really know. But we've been working around, you know, everything that's been happening now. So you know, whatever's feasible for you guys, you know, we'll work around it.
Have you walked there and looked at the field and everything?
Yes, sir.
I've helped organize and run a softball league in Cleveland County, so, I understand a little bit of what, you know, kind of work you're having to do, all the legwork, all those, the hard stuff. And what we did was we worked with a much smaller town than Ranlo, but, we paid them a weekly fee to basically reserve their fields, to be the only ones allowed, because as it is currently, anyone is allowed to use the field, first come, first served. So if you were to show up on the field and somebody was already there, they would have the right to stay there. So my thinking is, if we're gonna do this, which I'm fine with, we would need to do it as an in-kind donation, basically a sponsorship, to ensure that the field would be reserved for your organization. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
My concerns, I guess, would be,
if any conflicting with any events that was already scheduled for us or may pop up that the town will still have the
Well,
first priority.
The good thing about that is, we're actually under the AAU, not organization, corporation, so we play with, so we do have a meeting in June, so kind of knowing the schedules ahead of time, I can make sure to ensure that it doesn't put any home games on those dates that are, scheduled for you guys, So we can also probably attend the events as well, if we want to be a part of what you guys are doing too.
You have insurance and everything with kids?
Yes, sir.
And do you have,
Go ahead.
just curious, I know you're asking for the ball field for the football, but I'm kind of curious about the other things you're offering. The facilities you got for that, have you already secured all that for like the cosmetology, the etiquette class, all that?
Yes,
stuff?
sir. Yes, sir. So, I have actually a salon in Gastonia. I think this is, yeah, in Gastonia. So yes, I have been, but also, we also taking, offers as well too. We have a few locations that's been, offered to us, so, but I would like to be, it is kind of in the back of, in a cut somewhere. I would like to be more out open, more accessible. Linwood is kind of, back there, but, we're open, but I know for as like the carpentry is gonna be more of hands-on majority of the time, so they'll be actually in the community learning these things as well too. And actually, the Sharon thing, that has really nothing really to do with Young Bulls, they will actually be at Sharon. We actually have tours, so they will actually tour the Sharon facility, not just the organization. Now, that's for anybody, honestly. That's for anybody, any kid that's in high school that actually wants to get into engineering, they can reach out to us and they can take a tour of Sharon. I think it'll be very amazing because the bones that go inside the body to the firearms. We're getting ready to do our first ITAR project at Sharon, which is a government project building firearms, and I have the knowledge, the privilege to actually doing a blueprint for that. So for them to take a tour and kind of see those machines being made, to see how things are done, I think it's also good to get them introduced into engineering. It's more than just computers and things like that. It's way other different sides to it, from applications and automations and things like that. So with those tours to be taking place in the summertime, and that's strictly dealing with Sharon, so they will go through Sharon for that. For us, that is just me kind of getting them out there, and that's how I'm doing that for Sharon, for its engineering and electrician and stuff like that. So.
I have one other question about, do we have adequate parking? I don't know how, for people to use the field, where's, I know there's parking like in the parking lot behind the concession stand. Is there overflow parking, or is it just at town hall, or on the
It
side of
would
the
just
field?
be at town hall here at the police department, town hall, and that
Okay.
overflow parking that you referenced, which is behind the concession stand, are gonna be the only parking option.
I know, when the town had a football team, that one little brief period, we'd use the jogging track as the overflow parking when the weather was right, if it wasn't raining. They could park out there in that field.
Yeah,
Then they parked out here,
yeah, and the,
hang around with the basketball court and all that.
Yeah.
Would y'all upkeep the field as far as marking it and everything else?
Yes, sir. That's actually one of the duties that I try to teach these athletes. Everything we do, we're gonna do it ourselves. We're gonna work.
Y'all have equipment and all that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we have, in the past, we had a group come in and actually ran a football team here, but they didn't use any kids from the town. They said they weren't good enough. So what's your thoughts on that? I mean, are you open to using kids in the town? And
Hey, you know what's crazy? I get those kids now. Those same kids that people leave out. Again, I can care about the athleticism.
right.
I can care about the speed. I got a couple of kids when I first got them. Their spirit was lost. They didn't want to do it. They wanted to quit. They was big. They were slow. They were walking, and all I kept telling them was, "This is April. It's not August." Consistency. I don't need you to be the best or the fastest. I need you to be the smartest. As long as you do your job and you know your job perfectly, on that play, we will win every time. And that's the point. See, the whole point of even with the engineering and stuff like that, it all has a purpose of what the game is, whether it's basketball, soccer, anything like that. You gotta be smart, because your body gonna get tired, and then what you gonna do? So for those kids that nobody really wants, I know I'm gonna get, and that's fine. But my coaches, they never coached before. I'm pretty much probably the only one with the experience, But But one thing I don't have experience in is greeting and meeting people. And that's where they come in at. Everybody I know that I have came in contact with, Mr. Jonathan, it's been me meeting people. I'm from St. Louis. Been down here since April last year. You know, and in that time frame, I opened up a salon that's also helping young ladies get their hair license at 16. And like, that's my focus. So those kids that nobody want, I don't mind being a Ranlo football team because the kids are the future. That's my focus, not the town.
Yeah, we don't have any sports at all right now, so.
I think, Lynn's, to go off Lynn, is, do you have a plan to advertise within Ranlo, like flyers or like social media bursts or
With
like?
the permission, I would love to.
Just so we can, you know, I think the concern is that it would be bringing a bunch of people from Gastonia to come play at our field, which I'm also okay with, but we'd like to involve our kids in Ranlo. Is that what you're trying to say, Lynn? You're trying to,
That's exactly right.
yeah,
Just making sure they have the opportunity
Yeah.
as well.
yeah.
Man, y'all ain't no music to my ears. I'm trying to hear the problem. Like, I would love to have these kids. I'm not from
Awesome.
Gastonia, Charlotte. I'm from St. Louis, and back home, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're a family. That's what I grew up doing, so I just tried to create this here. My dad has a sports organization back home. I don't know what I'm doing. It's my first year doing this. So, and I tell my parents this too. I'm being transparent. Let me figure it out and make the mistakes this year. I'm going to make them. I'm going to make them. Okay? But I promise you I'm going to get better. I ain't going to do it again. And I'd be just that transparent. So, Ranlo, I think I heard a few other counties. Mountain, whatever, Creek, the stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm there to raise these village of kids. That's what I'm there for. So, Ranlo County, yes, I'm not opposed to them. Gaston County, honestly, I thought this was Gaston County.
Or
It
we
is.
count the Ranlo in Gaston County.
See, right, okay, see, so, I mean, and I don't wanna offend nobody by mixing the counties,
No problem.
you know, cause,
I thought the same thing when I moved here.
yeah, I'm like 4 minutes away from here, so I'm like, I don't understand why you're saying like kids from Ranlo, like,
Yeah.
I thought they was all the same kids, so.
Yeah.
And to me personally, that's really what I see, you know, I've heard about the other team, Gastonia Knights and everything like that. And I'm not trying to step on their toes or anything like that. Like I've told some of the parents that ran across me, I'm like, I'm not, my biggest thing is like, I just wanna do my job. That's it.
So I've got two questions. Do you have a tax identification number? I saw you had an EIN.
Yes, ma'am. I thought I put it in there, but I must have didn't.
Okay, because we'll need that for something finance related.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss at this moment. My second question is, are you also asking to use the concession stand?
Yes.
That would just be included in there.
And since you guys are throwing out blessings, just wanna put this in your heart, you know, helmets and pads and stuff too. We take that too. If they're giving them away, trash messed up, we'll fix them, stuff like that. Or we wanna reach down in your pockets, guys say you wanna bless somebody, go ahead. Pastor told me if it ain't blessing, it ain't hurt.
So what did we do with all the equipment? We donated?
We
Yes.
surplused and donated it to another team a couple years ago.
A lot of uniforms probably ruined by the
Yeah.
wrong thing that was put down, you know.
Well,
Sitting too long.
I know for us, what we did was we eliminated trying to really go through that hassle of trying to buy shirts and buy uniforms. What we did was, again, this is the learning process. We took it upon ourselves, so we're gonna teach the kids fashion. They're gonna purchase their own shirts and jerseys and stuff like that. Like, we're doing that Friday, you know, so again, we don't want them to hand it to us. We can do it ourselves, you know, so and that's just kinda where I'm at, when you cut the cost that way. We do it ourselves, and also teach kids that too. Embroidery, you know, teaching them right how to put things into perspective. All this stuff is gonna help them as they go off into school, you know, graphic design, things of that nature. So ain't nothing, we not calling no company asking them to do it for us. We doing it. You know, we just asking maybe y'all could get us somewhere a little fast to help us out. So I guess that contradictory, but you know, and the reality side of it, you know, it's about $200 per kid to get a helmet and a pad. You know, but that's what I stress about. And that's what these fundraisers are for. But we can't do it without the people. Ranlo, Gaston. I don't know where half of these kids is from. They just show up. So they come to the field, they will understand fundamentals. That's what I'm about. So they will learn. And if I was the team of Ranlo, we're gonna bring a championship. So
What field are you at now that you practice at?
Lynn, Cartier Park. It's a private park.
It's located, off Linwood? I'm not familiar with that part.
Yes, 4227, I believe, Linwood.
All right, is there any concerns that you have?
I just wanted to flesh out one of the points that Commissioner Cordell had made. You are requesting use of the concession stand, if that's what I understood you to say. Now, would that be like your parents, your volunteers, buying supplies and just using the concession stand to operate out of? Would you be asking the town for anything from that regard, or are you
No,
just
no, no,
asking
no.
for use of the facility?
Yeah,
and
just
the
go
field?
in there, we'll put our own chips and hot dogs and stuff of that
Okay.
nature in there. And because of AAU, I don't know how that go about. Again, this is my first year. I'm not supposed to have, police, escort or something like that, at the games, at our home games. It's required by AAU, so, and I don't know, I was gonna reach out to
Yeah.
Mr. Jonathan, kind of see how that goes.
Right, so specifically, just from the town, the only thing that you're requesting is use of the use of the field, use of the concession stand, and the only responsibilities that the town would have was just ensure that the bathrooms are stocked and that the concession stand is clean and that there is no conflicting events or conflicting, things that are going on in the field on the days that you're requesting, correct?
Pretty much, yes.
Well,
On
you said the concession stand clean, I wanna advocate that it's left clean, but,
Sure.
from the people who's using it.
Well, I know right now, like I said, we don't have a recreation committee or anything, but
Right.
that's who used to run the concession during the events, and they used it to roll back over into the town. I always advocated that we ought to, bid it out and allow individuals to, operate the concession stand and get bids on it, get the highest bid, and let them operate it. Things completely stopped.
Mhm.
Pans,
Yeah.
cookers.
I think they wanna use it for fundraisers for
Yeah,
the
it'd be a
team, the
perfect
money
op-
goes back to the
Yeah.
teams, so.
It'd be a perfect opportunity for
Yeah.
fundraising.
Is that right, Mr. Winfrey? That was kind of the vision that you had, was to utilize the concession stand to use the profit as a fundraiser to go back towards the team for what you sold?
Oh, that was gonna be for like game day.
Yeah.
Game day, okay, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, cause you know, you got big refs,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also, missions and stuff like that to get in. You know, but I don't mind giving back, you know, that's no problem, you know, taking a percentage of what's earned, we can come down to a good number, you know what I'm saying? So both parties happy, because I understand that it's still business, so.
If I ain't mistaken, he's referring to paying the refs, and in other words, you had to pay the refs cash. They didn't take checks or nothing, you had to pay them cash. And when it was time to pay them, you had to divvy out from the concession stand, once you paid the referee.
I think, that,
They did when we had football.
Yeah, yeah.
Put football.
I think nowadays it's a little different. I worked as a referee, like
Well, I don't know.
4 years ago, and then, every organization is different, so every rep that comes out will say, you know, you pay our organization and they pay us per hour, or they could say cash, or, you know, a dividend or whatever it is, but, that's up to them, I think.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, Mr. May, that would be up to you guys,
Yes.
right, how you handle and manage any of
Yeah,
that.
the
The league they're in.
Yes, sir.
you know,
Yeah,
Mhm.
Correct.
I mean, to me, looking at this, he's more prepared than the last one. We took it on the fly,
yeah,
and I'm the one, and Doug was out there at the concession stand one day. I mean, flopping burgers and everything, it's all day hot and everything sweating. And then we had the police, you had to ban each entrance and all that. I mean, it was a time. And, man, but Darius, you seem more prepared tonight with all this than the last one we had here. I mean,
I try to live what I preach, so. That's pretty much it, so.
Is there a motion on the board for, we wanna pursue anything
Yes.
tonight or table it for next meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to offer the use of the field and concession stand, on an in-kind donation basis.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Okay, 100%, so carried, Darius.
And if I can, Mr. Mayor, just to recap to ensure that I have a full understanding, we're looking at offering the field and the concession stand as an in-kind sponsorship. Would the board be comfortable with me negotiating with Mr. Lampley for really something along the lines of a seasonal special event agreement, which would clearly demonstrate the release of liability waiver, clearly demonstrating the responsibilities of each party, and just moving forward with what was discussed tonight. If that is agreeable to the board, scheduling and a formal agreement, if you are comfortable with me negotiating with Mr. Lampley to get that seasonal special event agreement signed, we'll move on that as quickly as possible, as long as there's no objection from the board.
No objection. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, the public legislative hearing to consider the adoption of our town's 2040 land use ordinance.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, if you will open the public hearing, we will begin the discussion in regards to the comprehensive land usage plan.
All right, have a motion to go into a public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion,
I'll
have a
second.
And a second, all in favor? So carried. We're now in public hearing forum. Anyone wants to come to the stand and speak, please come forth, state your name and address.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Before the board tonight, we have an ordinance for adoption of the town plan comprehensive land use and master plan. This comes at a unanimous recommendation from the planning board. This is one of the two projects we have been working the past few months with in focus on, and we have one of our representatives here tonight. We have advertised the public hearing twice in the Gaston Gazette. The plan has been posted on our website, and this will be really our roadmap going forward for our future land usage plan. This is required under North Carolina 160D 501, which requires a comprehensive land usage plan to be in effect by July 1, 2022. We've spent the better part of the past 5 months working on this plan. I think it is a very good plan, a reasonable path for growth, for development that shows where we've been, where we're going, and what our future is going to look like here in Ranlo. So that plan is before you tonight at the unanimous recommendation of the planning board for adoption. I feel very comfortable with the plan. We've tweaked, worked, and come up with a Ranlo specific plan that I think will position us in a great place for the days to come. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that you all may have. Tom will be, I'm sure, glad to answer any questions you guys may have, or certainly anything the public would like to add on this particular comprehensive land usage plan.
I'd like to say that, I came to all but one of the meetings they had, and the board, the advisory board, took it very serious, and I want to commend them on that, and they wasn't just up here, they was doing their homework, they came back prepared for every meeting, and, I really appreciated that, and I totally agreed with what they recommended, so I just wanted to say that, and I'm on board with it.
Okay, does anybody have a question for Tom?
General comment.
General comment?
I read through this entire thing, looked it over, I'm pretty happy with it. I just wanted to point out, kind of as a comment for the public who maybe haven't seen this. One of the statistics that you pointed out in the plan is talking about people being cost burdened, right? And cost burdened is defined as your housing expenses being more than 30% of your income. 58%, or a little more than 58% of our renters, so everybody who rents a home in Ranlo, is cost burdened. 21% of owners without a mortgage, that's generally seniors, they are cost burdened. And 5% of our homeowners with mortgages are cost burdened. That's a lot of people, and I hope that should we pass this, we will not forget this. When it comes time to discuss the revaluations that are coming and to discuss the tax rates next year, and to make sure that we are using every dollar that comes into Ranlo wisely and for the betterment of our community, because if we're doing it off the backs of people who are already struggling, then we're
Yep.
doing the wrong thing. That's it, that's just my little soapbox moment.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment? No questions for Tom? You got anything you wanna add?
Jonathan did a great job. The planning board did a great job. Thank you all. So many of you attended the planning board meetings, or I guess watched the streams on Facebook.
Right.
So, nope, I think you've covered everything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
We'll just need to close the public hearing.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
We have a a motion to close?
I'll make that motion.
And a second. All in favor? All right. Any motion to be made out of, coming out of the public hearing?
I'll make a motion we adopt the recommendation of the advisory board.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, so it is now an ordinance, okay. All right, next item is presentation of the town manager budget message.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you tonight, you have the fiscal year 22-23 proposed budget from staff, and before you tonight, you have a draft budget ordinance which has been sent to the local government commission. After numerous conversations with them, I did receive clearance to present the budget tonight and to advertise for the public hearing on the budget ordinance next month. I would like to go through a few highlights from the budget message with you all as I formally present the budget for you tonight. The recommended budget balance is at $4,432,100. This consists of a general fund budget of $2,382,300, a POW bill budget of $193,000, stormwater budget of $60,000, and a utility fund budget of $1,796,800. The recommended budget provides for an estimated $102,962 of a surplus in the general fund, a $72,599 surplus in the utility fund, and a $20,000 surplus in the stormwater fund. If you look at Chart A, that really outlines some of the expenditures for each department within general utility, within the general and utility fund. The recommended budget was prepared over a 10-week period amongst the town staff, coupled with direction and governing input from the Ranlo Board of Commissioners. We met on March 7th, March 31st, and April 14th to tailor a budget that met the needs of the town's departments and that was compliant with the required direction from the North Carolina State Treasurer's Office. At the conclusion of these conversations, we were able to put together a modest budget that was focused on demonstrating a commitment to fiscal responsibility, conserving the town's resources, and continuing a stable path of economic growth. So looking at committing, conserving, and continuing. Despite the numerous positive strides over the last fiscal year, Ranlo continues to be the only municipality in Gaston County currently on the Local Government Commission's Unit Assistant list. Due to our inclusion on this list, the town was required to submit the recommended budget to the State Treasurer's Office for review and input. All of the reporting requirements for the recommended budget have been fulfilled, and with the completion of the town's fiscal year 21 audit, we are currently current with all of our outstanding audits that is required under General Statute 159-34. As I stated, I've had numerous positive conversations with the State Treasurer's Office. They did request some tweaks to be made based on the last draft budget that we put together, but they were comfortable with moving forward with this draft budget. Last year, we talked about the importance of capitalizing on the findings of the previously incomplete audits and outlined the opportunity for the town to restore, replenish, and repair some of our financial affairs. I'm very proud of the progress we've made over this last year and the commitment from the board and the town staff to remain focused on the goals that were set during this fiscal year. We now have an opportunity to further advance our commitment to fiscal responsibility, to conserve our resources, and to continue our forged path of economic stability. The recommended budget first seeks to demonstrate a commitment to fiscal responsibility in a meaningful and apparent way. Most notably, as mentioned before, the recommended budget does add to the fund balance for both the general and utility fund. This is something to the tune of $195,000 total across those departments. By continuing to add to the town's reserves while simultaneously maintaining the current level of services, we are demonstrating to the public and those that are monitoring the town's financial affairs in Raleigh that we are committed to retaining our financial autonomy and doing what it takes to commit to a responsible, well-planned future. Also, the recommended budget conservatively recognizes stewardship of the town's resources. There are very few expenditure increases throughout each department, no new personnel added, and no large capital projects being funded. Although stringent and challenging, as we have discussed over the past couple of months, by minimizing added costs to the recommended budget, the town is positioning itself to be removed from the local government units assistance list. This inclusion limits the town's ability to borrow money, to invest in infrastructure, and can potentially impact the town's municipal bond rating in a negative way. Through the proposed utilization of resources, the recommended budget proudly encompasses a cautious approach to conservatively investing limited resources. Lastly, the recommended budget is drafted with the goal of positioning the town on a continued path of economic growth. Most notably, the latest audit shows progress for the town, including an increase to the general fund balance, a decrease to the utility fund balance, but not as large a deficit as we were looking at fiscal year 20. And we have seen an overall fund balance increase to 26%, which is a small growth from fiscal year 20. Furthermore, the town is on the cusp of undertaking nearly $10 million in capital projects that are completely funded by grants, direct allocations, and outside funding. By keeping these operational expenses low in the recommended budget, the town can continue on the path of economic stability, which is demonstrated in recent audit findings and growth of available funds. And I do want to underscore the current financial health of the town. We have $1,109,058 in our Truist checking account. We have $2,616,560 in our capital management savings account. We have $3,593,591 in our newly established capital management account for our state capital improvement fund, which was one of the large direct allocations that we got through Raleigh. And our POW bill savings account stands at $537,913. So I'm particularly proud of the money that we've been able to save, the money that we currently have on hand, and the money that we have in savings for contingency. So lastly, the recommended budget is balanced and prepared with North Carolina General Statute 159-11. It's based on the current 50-cent tax rate, a 5% increase to water, a 5% increase in sewer, which has been mandated by our provider, Two River Utilities, and there have been no changes to monthly garbage fees. Financial forecasting and revenue projections for the upcoming fiscal year are based on the findings of the previous audits, the actual trends of the prior fiscal year, and annual projections provided by the North Carolina League of Municipalities, all of which currently indicate overall growth and positive stability. Last year, I spoke to the importance of restoring, replenishing, and repairing the town's financial standing. The actions undertaken at that time, including the tax increases and utility increases, were incredibly difficult, as all of you will recall. However, together we have avoided a mathematically certain future insolvency and a reduction of core services to our residents by continuing on this path. I'm very proud of this growth, the prosperity, and the security that we're now beginning to enjoy. We are continuing to further the goals to committing to fiscal responsibility, conserving the town's resources, and continuing a path of economic stability. I'm confident we will continue to enjoy a bright future built with pride for everyone here in Ranlo. Public hearing on this budget is scheduled to be held on June 9th, 2022 at the regular June meeting of the Board of Commissioners at 7 p.m. Any person wishing to make comments or ask questions may do so at the public hearing prior to the adoption of budget ordinance. The recommended budget will be available for public review at Town Hall during normal business hours and on the town's website. Notice of the availability of the document and the scheduled public hearing will be published in the Gaston Gazette in upcoming days. I am certainly appreciative for the board's input. I'm appreciative for staff input, Ms. Elsie for coming in, start of the budget session, working to put together this budget. I'm very proud of the work that we have done, and it is with the sincerest appreciation and gratitude that I, as budget officer and town manager, officially respectfully submit and recommend this proposed budget to the Board of Commissioners today, May 12, 2022. Not looking for any action on the budget tonight, Mr. Mayor. This is just a formal presentation. We will advertise, allow the budget to be examined by the public, and we'll have that public hearing in June.
All right, any comments from commissioners?
I have a question.
Yes.
It's a two-part question. Well, it'll end up in two parts, but, for both the general fund and the utility fund, I think at our last meeting, the budget that we ended up, least unhappy with was, putting back about 120,000 into the general fund and about just a little over 100,000 into the utility fund. So what makes up the change?
Since then, we formally got the renewal quote for our insurance. Some of those benefits were a bit higher than we'd looked at. The state treasurer also requested that we make some adjustments in regards to the actual line items. In regards to water and sewer costs, actual costs, they also questioned some of the ad valorem rates. There were some slight adjustments. There were no changes or any additions based on what the board had recommended at the last budget. But when those actuals came in for the insurance and some of those actuals came in for what water and sewer charges were going to end up for this fiscal year, those were adjusted to more accurately reflect budget to actual expenses. So essentially, in short, in the utility fund, the biggest part was the request and desire to see a more actual approach and actual numbers in regards to water and sewer sales. We increased that sum, which dipped into the fund balance sum for the actual cost of water and sewer. And general fund was really just some of the allocations adjustment, the salary sharing amongst departments, and those increases in reference to the health insurance benefit.
How much did that go up?
We were looking at a 22% increase. We have been negotiating with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I spoke to our broker yesterday. She feels confident that we're going to be able to negotiate closer to an 11%. Conversation that I had, and something that we had thought about just continuing as is, since the state's treasurer's office has approved this. If we do not end up needing as much as we need, that can be kind of additional resources that we can allocate through other line items that may not necessarily balance throughout the fiscal year. But we have budgeted for around a 20% increase to benefits to health insurance.
Any other questions? Board? All right, next item on the agenda, other business, town manager's report.
Sure thing, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things that I want to bring to the board and public's attention tonight. Number one, Town Hall will be closed in honor of Memorial Day on May 30th. Residential garbage pickup will be delayed by one day that week. I'm also very proud to report that we have submitted 3 very large grants to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. We made the May 2nd deadline, which provided for $1.8 million for a second interconnect with the city of Gastonia in the Monterey Park Drive area, $8.4 million for sewer rehabilitation for the Mill Village, and $3.9 million in line replacement for the Judith Lynn Middleton Monterey Park area of town. So I feel confident we had a very strong grant application put together. I am very optimistic about our chances for this particular grant. And if we are not successful, they are going to reopen the grant cycle in the fall, so hopefully we'll be able to make a competitive showing at that time. Also, as noted earlier, we are going to have a brunch bingo at the Lodge on May 20th, next Friday from 10 to 1. We're excited about that. And I did want to let the board know that I have had over 5 conversations with developers over the past couple of days. Lewis Farms is officially on the market. There is 111 acres that's being marketed right at $16 million. There's been an incredible amount of residential development interest in the property. I've spoke to a broker. I've spoke to numerous development companies that are interested in that. I feel confident that they're probably going to be moving forward with certainly entertaining offers on that property from some developmental organization. So I'll certainly keep you apprised of that. It's certainly a very unique opportunity that we're going to be presented with 111 acres right in the middle of town that may very well soon see residential development. So we'll certainly follow the appropriate channels, entertain any rezoning requests that may or may not come, or certainly entertain any subdivision plans that would currently meet the R12 zoning. But that just occurred over the past couple days. So it's currently zoned R12, all but one of their parcels, I believe it's R8. So there is a lot of interest and a lot of talk around that particular project. That is all I have for a formal report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
All right. MPO brought out their latest proposals concerning our project at the intersection of Highway 7, Spencer Mountain Road, for 2045. So I'll be an old man for sure when that lane finally gets put in, and it'll probably just be bumped back to another 10 years. We talked about going to the STEP project and maybe getting something done in that. Of course, they was wanting us to do some type of preliminary investment into the project, so that's something we can also look at maybe when you have some free time.
And I believe that deadline is in the fall. Was it a 70-30 grant or 75-25 grant?
I think it was 70-30. Okay, anything from the commissioners? Okay,
I've talked about it, sorry about that.
go ahead.
I reached out, obviously there's been a lot of concern over the water bills, so I reached out to, one of the council members for the city of Gastonia because they approved the budget for Two Rivers Utilities. And, that's who we get our water from, so they charge us a little bit more than the residential rate as a wholesale rate. So here's the message that I got back. I'll read it to you in its entirety, just for full disclosure. As part of the fiscal year 22 budget, City Council approved a 5% water and sewer rate increase. This increase was in response to the revenue losses due to COVID-19 to increase revenues for critical capital improvement projects and increased operating expenses. The water and sewer fund continues to recover from the impacts of COVID-19. Operating expenses have continued to increase due to market demands on personnel compensation, material cost increases, and supply chain issues. There were nominal rate increases in fiscal year 18 and 19 to cover the debt service from the water plant renovation project. There was no rate increase for fiscal year 20. 5% rate increases were approved for fiscal year 21 and 22 to cover operating cost increases and capital improvement needs. And I believe met both of those cost increases.
Right. And the last, utility rate adjustment in fiscal year '22, yes, ma'am.
Due to the increase in materials, supplies, construction, and operating costs, a 5% water and sewer rate increase is proposed for fiscal year '23. With the proposed rate increase for fiscal year '23, we hope to have no proposed rate increases for fiscal year '24. So we have in turn also proposed to raise water and sewer rates by the same percentages. It sucks. It's not an ideal position to be in, but our hands are more or less tied.
And I would note that that 5% increase to water and sewer is just to meet the adjustment from the city of Gastonia. We continue to maintain a very, very dated distribution system, so we are not going up any more than we absolutely have to in order to meet the demands from Two Rivers Utilities. That does not take into consideration the continued upkeep that we have on the distribution system, which I hope we'll be able to sustain with those base charges for water and sewer.
Something I would like to see, is a change, as far as an industrial rate for water and sewer. And if we can get some numbers by the budget meeting, let's see if we can kind of give the residential rate a little bit of breathing room. I know that it won't be all that much, but
Anything comes to this.
yeah, at this point, we're just having to count pennies.
And we can certainly ensure that we have an industrial rate proposed in the fee schedule for your consideration next month.
What is our water loss percentage at this point?
It's continued to decrease the last couple of years. Right off, I don't have this, Mayor, I know it's in the teens.
And the team's good.
It's not 1 million gallons a month.
Yeah.
As people think it is.
Yeah.
If it was that, we'll be swimming in Ranlo.
Right. All right. Any other comments from the board members? All right. At this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I second.
All in favor of adjournment? So carry this meeting is now adjourned.
So much.
Yeah, Lewis is just so.
Says that's fine.
Yeah,